All right, what is going on? Welcome to another episode of Hey Mark, the podcast where I, Mark, get to have open and authentic conversations about things like mental health and self-development. And the reason I'm out here having these types of discussions is to try and alleviate some of the suffering that's happening out there in silence. For those of you that may be sitting out there and thinking like, hey, nobody's ever been through what I'm going through right now, or nobody's been through what I've been through in the past. Nobody really thinks the same thoughts as I do or feels the same way that I do, or sees the world the way that I do, whatever it is that you're going through, no matter what it is, you're not alone, and life can and will get better for you. And so that's the message I'm trying to spread with people, and I think that we should be able to have these types of discussions, the types of things that we feel like, fuck, maybe I shouldn't talk about that. Those are the types of conversations I'm trying to start. Or just maybe some of the things that just make us uncomfortable. Anyways, if you're down with that kind of shit, if you're down with that kind of a message, then you're probably going to enjoy this podcast. If you're not down with that shit, then you might want to listen to something else. But if you're still here, if you're still with me, then we made it. Here you are. Anyways, let's jump into what it is I actually want to chat about with you guys today. And that is, the fact that, let's jump into what it actually is that I want to chat about today. So a couple weeks back, recently, I did my first jiu-jitsu tournament. And so I got to give credit to Tristan. He's the reason that I had actually entered this competition and wanted to join it in the first place. Just that conversation that we had, the first time that we rolled together. And then we even had a part on the podcast. I'm going to splice it in, actually, like right here. That's so sick, man. I'm so fucking excited too, just because.
Yo, your first competition's coming up, brother. How do you feel?
Dude,
let's go.
I love how you just out me like that.
Let's fucking go.
So Tristan's been talking. I actually, this will be out way before then, but yeah, Tristan's been talking me into competing. So I don't even know the details, but why don't you give me the details?
April 23rd, I believe it's in Langley. It's like Langley at Trinity Western University. So jiu-jitsu competition. It's going to be Mark's very first jiu-jitsu competition, but he's a 4th stripe white belt. Like, you have to get the competition experience before you go to blue belt. You don't want to go to be a fresh blue belt, get your first competition at blue belt. You got to get some competition experience at white belt, Mark.
Yeah,
you
got this.
You locked him in. Now he has to do it.
Okay, you have to coach me then. You have to.
1,000%. I will be there. I'll coach you, and then you will watch me compete and coach me too.
Okay, real talk. And so you guys can hear that Tristan was the one that actually committed me to doing this competition in the first place. And I wanted to chat about, first of all, the results. Second of all, some of the lessons that I learned. And so if you are watching, or if you're listening to this podcast and you're just listening to the audio, I implore you to check out the video, because I will be sharing clips throughout this entire, episode. So you guys can see those. There's going to be clips as well uploaded on my Instagram if you want to check that out. It'll be at the bottom of the screen down here. It's at Mark D. Henriksen for those of you that are listening. But anyways, I'll share some clips throughout this episode. We'll talk about some certain things that happened, and then we'll, chat about the lessons. So anyways, first of all, I'll just kind of recap how it went, just kind of like a subjective kind of, or I guess like what happened. So it was actually pretty difficult for me to actually make weight for this competition, because I entered in a weight class where it capped off at 181. And I ended up, it made me kind of stressed out, because that's like lighter than I've ever really been as an adult. Like, I graduated high school at like 225. And then when I was bodybuilding, I'd bulk up to like 235. And then when I stepped on stage, it was around like 195. And that's like shredded. And so I thought that was pretty much the lightest I could possibly get to. Mind you, I'm not like bodybuilding anymore. I'm not nearly that big. Right now, I'm sitting around like 195-ish, and not nearly as lean as I used to be, or like nearly as lean. Actually, I'm pretty lean, but for my own personal standards, but not for any bodybuilders out there. But anyways, and so for me, the cap off being at 181, I was like, fuck, that's kind of brutal. And so I was thinking about it. I wanted to kind of give myself that challenge just to see what was possible. And I ended up, getting down to a weight. I had like a month and a bit to prepare, but I ended up getting down to an all-time low body weight of 175, I think I clocked in at, which was, this like the leanest and the lightest I've ever been as an adult. So that was pretty exciting for me. It was kind of a new milestone for me. And it's kind of a new transition, because for me to think that I'd feel good at 175, if you were to say that like 5 years ago when I was still bodybuilding, I would have laughed at you and probably punched you in the face. So I think it's a testament to how far I've kind of transitioned in terms of what I think is valuable and what I think is healthy and what I think is, the point of fitness in the first place. And so that was kind of one of the lessons that I had learned right off the bat. And it was kind of something that I was really proud of for myself as well. So I want to talk about that as well. So I did the tournament. I won my first match in the gi, and then I lost my first match in no gi. And then I won a match in no gi, and then I lost my second match in gi. And then that was pretty much it for me. That was how far I went in the tournament. And so I shared a couple clips of the wins on Instagram because I was proud of them. I want to make my little own highlight reel, and I want to look back on it and think of it as like kind of a, like I said, like a milestone. I think what really made me proud was just even the fact that I had joined the competition in the first place, because I was thinking about this today. And if anyone's like new to jiu-jitsu and they're thinking about doing their first competition, trust me, I really encourage you to do so, because I think of it this way. Winning the competition is obviously the goal, and winning is the most fun thing in my eyes. But for me, I was thinking about it like this. Most people in society aren't like wanting to do something that will kind of push them or make them uncomfortable or try and make themselves better. Right, and that's where I think that it is when you're working out or you're doing a martial art or you're playing a sport, whatever it is. Like, most people don't want to do that. They want to just go home and chill. So the fact that you're even showing up to training is huge, right? And then the next step above that is facing the next fear, which is showing up to compete. And it doesn't like, if you've done a lot of things, or if you haven't done this kind of thing before, that might kind of sound cheesy. And if you've done hundreds of tournaments, maybe you don't relate to that as much, but I just want you guys to kind of reflect back on, if you are that experienced competitor, think back to like the first competition you did and think back to the butterflies that you felt. I think what I'm trying to say is just showing up to even compete, or stepping on the mat, or showing up to a place where you feel like you're a little bit nervous or you could be ill prepared, or, that's the win in and of itself. And so that was one of the takeaways that I had, because having a couple losses that day, I was really beating myself up. I had made a couple of mistakes where I was like, fuck, man, I knew what I should have done in this time, or, and that's kind of the way I always live my life. So it was pretty typical for me. I had to reflect back and think like, hey, look, man, you showed up and you did something that it kind of made me nervous. And so I was proud of myself for that. But anyways, I guess to make like a long story short, it was a really awesome experience, and I did share a couple of clips to my Instagram already. Well, one clip on my Instagram already, and earlier I shared, a clip of me going out and having like my highlight reel and making myself look awesome. And I wanted to share all the types of things that I did really well, but I also wanted to share a couple of things, and you guys are watching this right now, but I wanted to share a couple of the times in the tournament that I didn't do so well, because at the end of the day, sometimes you're going to win by a small margin, maybe by points, and maybe you're going to lose by a small margin, maybe by points. And sometimes, in life and on the mat, you're going to win by submission, and it's going to feel awesome. But sometimes you get triangle choked the fuck out, and you feel like a little bitch. But if that happens to you, just understand that the fact that you're even willing to show up to a situation and say, hey, I want to get better. I want to improve myself. So you show up to training, and then you want to challenge yourself even further and raise the stakes, add some intensity, the butterflies of a crowd, performing in front of everybody. And, pretty much you're taking yourself out of the situation where you're sparring with a friend and putting yourself, on the mat. And obviously it's not like a life or death situation, but you're cranking up the heat, you're cranking up the intensity with someone that will either injure you or tap you the fuck out while you try and do the same to them. And so it's a lot different than just, sparring with your friends. Anyways, what I am trying to say is, win or lose, just by showing up, you've done yourself a good deed. And you're pushing yourself beyond where you've been before and making yourself better. Mentally, physically, spiritually, and physically. And don't try and look up the definition of that because I'm pretty sure I just made it up. But anyways, I think you guys get the point. Let's watch some videos, some clips of me getting dominated in side control, getting triangle choked the fuck out. And maybe I'll throw in some cool video clips of me doing something good. But I think it's just funny to laugh at me getting choked out. So if you're listening to the podcast version of this, that was kind of my experience. I want to share that with you. For the audio version of this is pretty much going to be the end. I just want to share this little clip with you guys because, or this episode with you guys because, the way I've been trying to look at it is this. Like, there's two options. You win or you learn. And you can look at a loss as a loss, but that makes you a fucking loser. What separates you from losers when you do face a loss is being able to look at it like a lesson and think, how can I deal with a situation that's like that in the future? And if you can't pull a lesson out of a loss, guess you're just a fucking loser. And I've been there too, so maybe that sounds harsh, but fuck, I've been a loser in the past as well, and sometimes I still act like a fucking loser today, so let's remind ourselves and remind each other to look for the lessons and stop being fucking losers. That's all I got. If you're watching the video version of this, get ready. You can watch me be a fucking loser and get choked the fuck out. And you can laugh at me, and I'll laugh at me. If you're listening to the audio version of this, go and check out the video version. That's all I got. Thank you so much. Much love, and peace out.
Then cross face. Yes. Lift your knee. Yes. Pull it out. Pull it out. Keep pulling up. Yes. Yes.
I want to give him advice, but that's his coach. So. There you go. his history.